Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with another cryptocurrency update. Hope all is well. So today I'm going to be short and sweet with this video update. I want to go high level, and this is going to be more for the people that have been, in XRP in the cryptocurrency space for at least 3 years or so. I want to speed through this, give you a high level overview of what's happening in the space, and I'm pretty excited to do this. So to kick things off, guys, XRP Crypto Wolf sharing some additional news from the country Slovenia, and crypto adoption's growing rapidly. Interestingly enough, they have the global lead with the highest number of physical locations accepting crypto as a whole. So, for example, cafes, restaurants, dentist offices, you name it. So just wanted to share that. Now, in tandem with Slovenia, I'm sure many of you have heard of this group that Matthew Liony was sharing. And this is, as we can see, Go Crypto. They are based out of Slovenia. They are expanding within Africa. Again, another huge population like India of the unbanked, or underbanked, I should say. And again, focus on, Ripple, XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. So we can see they've partnered with Quidax, is how I pronounce it, and they are the leading African crypto exchange. So again, all about goods, starting in Nigeria, accepting that day by day. So we can see Quidax, and the reason I said Ripple is because they name it right here. Keep in mind, back in the day, XRP was formerly called Ripples. Remember that the company now is making the distinction the past few years. Okay, so next up, let me kind of get through this. I want to kick things off before I talk about DC in particular and Ripple's office there and why it's important, and kind of just go over that for any newcomers. I want to go over this point. So Mbiagi, thank you for the share. So Google's transition to SAP Ariba network. So just to speed through this, I know I did a video regarding SAP's Ariba network back in April of this year, and I kind of want to go over this again because so many things are dominoing. We're seeing obviously a lot happening on a daily basis. My head is spinning, and I'm sure yours is as well. So right here, guys, Google, they've been a partner with SAP since 2017, I believe. Yep. So again, working to help companies digitize their processes. I know many people have heard of, SAP in particular. Should be no surprise. And keep in mind, the Ariba network themselves, guys, they're one of the largest business networks in the world. They have roughly 4.6 million companies, well over 190 countries. Huge. So we're talking $3.2 trillion per year on cross-border payment capabilities alone. Goldman Sachs joined them. Now we have Google. Obviously, it's quite evident, and we know that SAP helped ATB. What are they, out of Germany? ATB's out of Canada, and Bank test XRP years ago. Not just Ripple, actually using XRP for cross-border payments, and we'll kind of go over that as well. So obviously, this is pretty telling, and what's coming in the future. Cloud-based, we're noticing that as well. Exactly, guys. I'm quite excited. This is focused on payments. All right, DLT is going to play a huge role. Interoperability across the board. There's going to be many, many winners, but as you can see, the payment, the friction is an issue, and they're addressing this now, not in 5 years, not in 10 years, daily. Okay, so. Old video I did, again, just kind of showing you SAP was testing and looking and integrating with Ripple's default virtual currency, XRP. You guys can find more of this if you want to, check this out as well. Should be no surprise. And of course, we can talk about R3 as well. They did send, $1,000 settlement from ATB to Bank, as I've said. So it should be no surprise. And remember, Accenture, guys, with the real-time growth settlement partnership with Bank of England, one of the first investors with Ripple, helping R3 and Swift do the obviously Swift GPI and Corda integration. We can see SAP to bring DLT to real-time growth settlements. So we have Accenture, R3, and SAP working on that prototype to streamline high value, not low value, not just RippleNet. We're talking high value transactions using currency tokens for end-to-end settlements. Okay, so again, there's going to be intra-network type of currencies. Yes, absolutely. But notice vested interests. You're hearing more talks on a daily basis about algorithmic stablecoins that are trusted by math. There's no other, vested interests. Nothing like, Tether, for example. All right. So again, SAP Ariba, you guys can check out the Ariba network. As I've said, $3.2 trillion in commerce is transacted annually. So Goldman Sachs, tech forward, securing cross-border payments, available with this solution. Okay. All about, lowering barriers to entry, simple, less clicks, just like on e-commerce websites, and less costly. Okay. So remember local currencies as well. Swapping FX rates are, highly unfair for a lot of currencies, especially the illiquid corridors. And you're noticing groups like Ripple really targeting Southeast Asia, parts of Asia, India. The whole system is just getting revamped right in front of our eyes. And a lot of people just don't care. right? And again, 4.6 million companies are connected to Ariba network in 190 countries. And it says right here on their website, making it the largest business network in the world. Okay. So SAP, guys, you can see many documents mentioning, XRP, Ripple, R3. You can see Deloitte doing the same thing. One of the big four consulting firms. I think this means something. And obviously this is dot connecting, and you guys can believe what you want, but this is kind of part of the, fundamental assessments I do when I'm looking at projects. Okay. We're talking about XRP Ledger, 8 years strong. Do not sleep on this. And again, I think that R3 is going to play a huge role. And even in this video, I remember showing a clip, if you guys want to go back and watch this, of Yoshitaka Kitao talking about that potential discussion. And again, he might not have the best understanding of this ecosystem. I'm sure it's more comprehensive than me, but just talking about potentially merging interests of R3 and Ripple. And I know there's conspiracies about merging or acquisitions. Believe what you will. I'm only here for obviously, adoption utility based on XRP. Okay. All right. So again, then Mbiagi sharing this. I know many people have talked about this already, but Standard Chartered taps Microsoft to roll out cloud banking. So remember, RippleNet also cloud enabled. This is all about Microsoft and Azure. We know Microsoft runs a validator on the XRP ledger. Standard Chartered, also one of the investors of Ripple, RippleNet partner, have the platform access. Is that I believe what, Ant Financial? I'll have to double check. I'm pretty sure it's Ant Financial, which is just absolutely massive. I'm sure you guys are well aware of that. All right. And now I actually want to talk about this old Forbes article made by Thomas here, another Forbes contributor. I'm sure you guys have seen him around in the XRP community as well, just addressing this big news that was back in 2019. And I want to tie it together because we're seeing all of this legislation that is occurring today. So for example, recently in New York, the New York regulator greenlists those 10 cryptocurrencies approved for custody, including XRP. Last month, 3 weeks ago, national banks can hold crypto assets. That statement should speak for itself. We have, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of them in a huge number of, IMF documents talking about derivatives trading, virtual assets, VASPs, VASPs, those are virtual asset service providers in the US. This whole financial sector talking about bank charters, it is just absolutely unbelievable. Now, also, and I wanted to thank Crypto Beginner for resending this to me. I do appreciate it. I think it's pretty timely as well. And also, so Ripple's expanding their offices, in DC. In talking about this, so Ripple is joining the Blockchain Association with Michelle Bond, Ripple's global head of government relations. She's seated at the board. Talking about Craig Phillips, our buddy, former counselor to the secretary at the U.S. Treasury Department. Remember, he also has a BlackRock background. Buddies with Steve Mnuchin. Okay, he's an advisor for Ripple, board of directors, which you can see right here. Okay, now notice this. You guys can read these quotes if you want, again, by Brad Garlinghouse. The DC presence obviously is very smart for effective regulation. It's smart on their end as a private company. I think it's a done deal. And there was something, let's see here. So again, the DC office led by Michelle Bond is joined by several members of the global regulatory team, but also new additions to the team. So we have Ron Hammond, again, previously worked on the Token Taxonomy Act. I don't think that's a coincidence. We also have Rep. Warren Davidson. I know I was confusing his name with, Warren Paul Anderson in my previous video. Sorry about that. And we also have, joining Ripple from the Treasury Department. Pay attention to these connections, guys. I do think that, Ripple in particular is extremely strategic, and they're really just aligning as many interests in the space as possible. Now, remember when they're in DC in 2019, oh, big deal. Well, now also we have to consider the other things that have happened in the space since then. Okay, favorable regulation for crypto, specifically those that are, focused on a level playing field. We have even, the ISO migration that's occurring and always delayed, no surprise. But we have Ripple as one of the first DLT, focus groups to join their body. I do not think that is a coincidence. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Let me see what I'm missing. And again, guys, just partnerships, developments across the board. I know I've seen, even MoneyGram, Ripple's partner, of course, expanding in Sri Lanka. Should be no surprise. Okay. Also, we got Manny6Manny sharing this. So Matchmove introduces cross-border remittance platform for businesses. So I'm sure you guys have heard of, Money Match. Also, I believe they are based out of, so focused on Malaysian payments. This was back in maybe January, I believe. And then we're also seeing other groups expanding. So now we're, seeing Singapore saving up to 80% of their costs when compared to charges currently levied by most banks. So again, Singapore, guys, really just going, blockchain, banking as a service, you name it, focusing on remittance platforms, talking about the same vernacular. We have, the pandemic accelerating the need for companies to adopt digital tools. Right? Digital remittance is expected to hit, or estimated to hit, $28 billion. And then according to recent Google, we have Temasek. Remember, we've seen them throughout Singapore with, Accenture talking about, what was it, Project Ubin, I believe, Project Ubin, Jasper, etc. Real-time gross settlement, tests with ILP and without ILP. Again, guys, just all right in front of us. So it's all about digitization, upgrades, interoperability, level playing field, and I just believe that XRP is going to play an instrumental role in that. If there's going to be other assets that 10x before it, great, I wish all projects well, but for me, I just absolutely see XRP as one of the surviving networks in the future, and that's what I'm banking on. So it might seem slow and steady until it isn't. Okay. Again, additional news with Facebook. So we have, I believe, David Marcus, so of Calibra as well. So Facebook is reportedly expanding its banking ambitions with a new division that will run all the tech giants' payment projects, including Facebook Pay. So when you think Facebook, think not only Facebook with Libra, their permission database, masquerading as a crypto asset is what I like to say. But again, think WhatsApp. Again, these huge mobile networks as well. So we can talk about, this push, and people are going to have a choice. These banks, these countries are going to have to choose and expedite their own processes, regulation. I think that this is going to be a huge concern with all of the lawsuits as well regarding privacy. What are people going to choose? Are they going to be choosing, Libra as, a type of one world currency? I don't believe that's going to be the case, but again, to each their own. So just something to keep an eye on, guys. Remember, I believe in this article, it's pretty brief. They do address, markets like Brazil and India. Again, some of those are BRICS nations, for example. So that is something we have to pay attention to. Remember, Ripple meeting with the Central Bank of Brazil, focusing on just updating their, the whole system. And as you can see right here, Facebook Financial, or F2 as we'll call it, will oversee all of the tech giants' payments projects, including Facebook Pay. The service launched in 2019 that allows users to send and receive money on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Messenger. So, yes, their addressable market is quite large. And we'll see. I think this, some people think this, competition is a really bad thing and scary. I think this is potentially just what we need. We need some friction in the space to drive some innovation and hopefully light a fire under somebody's butt, because I want to get the show on the road. All right. Talking about commerce. And remember, we talked, 2 videos ago, talking about the growth rate, the growth trend expected with e-commerce alone. I think that alone, whether it's 15% to 75% market and the infrastructure for payments is not currently there, that should excite you. Okay. You are literally investing if you're, in any type of digital asset focusing on payments. My bet is obviously, XRP is part of that portfolio. I don't care what you hold. Obviously, take your own risk, do your own research. But I think that XRP is going to play a role in this. We have Navin Gupta talking about going through Ripple's network alone, and we understand it's going to be through XRP, through Ripple's network as they develop those on-ramps, that they're going to have, and this is a quote from him, not me, a significant portion of the 155 trillion cross-border market. That's a bold statement. Okay, so WhatsApp, remember Brazil, all the, battles between Facebook and Brazil as well. So really, really interesting. There's vested interests, there's companies, there's tier 1 banks and, huge corporations that stand to gain and stand to lose power. So pay attention to India and Brazil. We're going to be watching Russia, even South Africa, and of course, the biggest one of all, China. Okay. So I think that might be it. Let me see. And then lastly, I just want to cover this, I believe. Yeah, that's it. So we have early investor in the Internet of Value. So just a little fun speculation, guys. Take this as you will. But right here, so he's been following the OCC push to establish a special purpose fintech bank charter. It is hung up in a lawsuit right now, no surprise, from the New York Department of Financial Services. But he came across this quote from the past OCC head. So right here we can see, they've repeatedly said that the OCC, I'm thinking over the counter, OCC has met with hundreds of fintechs and one is soon to apply for the charter. Wonder who that one is expected to be. Remember, Miguel Valles, formerly of XRP Markets, commented on Ripple's subsidiary possibly being a lender of the last resort. And remember, guys, that type of vernacular you only hear from central banks. Interestingly enough, we have, conspiracies, connections to the US Treasury Department as well. We can talk about conclusions and dot connecting, which gets a little crazy. So obviously, I'm sure I'm going to trigger some people saying that regarding, Ripple connections to the clearinghouse and real-time payments platform. But again, something to pay attention to. And my bet is that, payments are going to increase in terms of, speed. DLT is just a no-brainer to me, whether it's for resiliency, security, real time, based on mutual trust rather than mutual mistrust today. Everyone's going to be having a shared copy that is updated. To me, it's just a no-brainer. And I think just as Ripple has said, 2020 is going to be the year of the digital asset. While the masses are, hoarding US dollars, and there's nothing wrong with having liquidity on hand, but I am just going to be betting big on the precious metals market and the crypto asset market as a whole to be reaching higher highs. Yes, it's going to be a bumpy road. Nothing goes up in a straight line and is sustainable per se, but that is just how I'm seeing the market right now. The US dollar is at a 3-year low. Gold is surpassing its all-time high. I know it's taking a little breather right now. That is to be expected. And yes, I wholeheartedly do believe that silver has a shot to surpassing all-time high. I know that's crazy, but guys, 2020 has been crazy enough, so we will simply see. So with that, guys, I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.